London, last Saturday night, and the sumo giants are here at last, in the flesh. Welcome to the Royal Albert Hall, and the first grand sumo tournament ever to have been held outside Japan. During the last 3 days, the hall has been transformed, and the stage was set this morning by a religious ceremony which turned 40 tons of ordinary British clay into sacred ground, dedicating this dojo to the honor of sumo and to the well-being of the giants who will do battle on it during the next few days. Ozumo, Japan's national sport, is more than just a game. It is a way of life, whose devotees practice solemn rituals, beginning each day of every tournament with ring-entering ceremonies, in which the last of the samurai dedicate themselves again to the ancient code of the warrior. They perform under a Shinto canopy, decorated with silk tassels in colors which represent the 4 seasons and recognize the agricultural origins of many sumo traditions. And before any combat begins, the contestants announce themselves with a hand clap and drive stray evil spirits from the area with mighty stamps and with showers of unrefined salt. Each man purifies himself with power water, offered to him in a wooden ladle. And then, at the heart of sumo, the real war of nerves begins. Now the fighters have control. They take each other's careful measure, and when both are satisfied that the moment is right, they take their marks. They touch down for the last time and leap as one to meet in the very center of the sacred ground. The contest ends when either man is pushed out of the circle or when he's grappled to a standstill and forced to touch the clay inside the boundary with any part of his body except the soles of his feet. And the seal is set on his victory with a fan and a flourish. All of sumo's top rikishi, the strong men of the first division, are in London this week, appearing for the first time in front of fans who've been looking forward to this moment ever since Channel 4's coverage of sumo began 4 years ago. Now, at last, they're here, in the flesh, competing for the Japan Festival Trophy that will be awarded to the winner live on Sunday afternoon. The top contenders for the cup include Akinoshima, the little giant killer who has overthrown more champions than anyone in sumo history. Akebono, the giant young Hawaiian who has reached the top ranks after just 3 years in sumo. Takatoriki, a rising star with a heart so big it threatens to burst out of his body. Kirishima, sleek, strong, beautiful to watch, now on the 2nd rank. Konishiki, the biggest rikishi ever, hovering now on the brink of promotion to the top. And at the top, Hoktumi, dogged as ever, suddenly the most senior yokozuna, sharing that responsibility only with one man, Asahi Fuji, who now has 4 titles to his credit and seems finally to have woken from his long sleep. Akinoshima, a great favorite with us, the little man we call the killer whale, or the giant killer. He holds the all-time record for the number of yokozuna overthrown by a lower-ranking man. He never does quite as well against other ranks, but against the top guys, against the champions, Akinoshima is it. He's the scourge of the champions. Just 24 years old.
広島県出身の貴乃島です。で、藤島部屋
体重
140キロです。いいですか？
He weighs 21 stone, but he's only 5'9" tall. What he has is a very low fulcrum, a superb balance. There are few people who balance as well as he does. They need it today against this big man. If he's going to tip Akebono down, he's got to use that fulcrum well. Akebono weighs 30 stones. Been in the top division now for just 1 year. Tremendous fighting spirit. A very fast learner. And not lacking in spirit at all. 22 years old, 30 stones.
Hi, I'm Akebono. I'm from the United States of America, from an island called Hawaii. I wrestle for Azumazaki Bear, which is owned by the first wrestler from Hawaii, Takamiyama-san. And my weight, 194 kilograms.
Height?
204 centimeters.
If Akebono has a problem, he has suspect balance. He does need a better defense than he's yet acquired. He's a great pusher. And Nakanoshima has a great battle on the belt too. Watch them. Here we go. Well, Akebono took that by sheer size and bulk. Nakanoshima didn't have the chance to use his great skills as a belt fighter. Akebono just didn't let him do it.
And that was a clear win for Akebono by Yorikini.
He wins, Akebono wins, as he very often does, by a force out. He's a very powerful man. Look at him now. He gets down to the belt for a moment, lifts the little man off balance, and that's hard to do with Akinoshima, and then puts him away, almost contemptuously at the end. There's a 9-stone difference in weight between these two men, and the big man makes his weight count. Sumo takes place beneath the shelter of a Shinto canopy. To make this possible in London, a portable yakata, a shrine roof from Osaka, was shipped here in pieces and then reassembled in the Albert Hall by a combined team, a British construction team, under Japanese supervision. Work began at midnight on Saturday. By 6 on Sunday morning, the 3-ton roof was ready to lift up into place. 2 steel cables took it up to the reinforced dome of the Royal Albert Hall. It was a magical moment for those of us who were there to see the change take place, to see this sacred structure made in the hall, lifted up into place. And even at daybreak on a bleak autumn Sunday, transformation was complete. Kirishima is very strong and fast. 4 stones lighter than Hoktumi. Very dangerous fighter. If he can get his right arm down on the belt, he's very hard to beat. He was a rugby player before he became a sumo wrestler. Still very fast. Also a judo champion. Great all-round athlete. Hoktumi, well, he was never anything but a sumo wrestler. Born to be sumo.
Hoktumi Nobuyoshi, 北海道出身、九重部屋、身長180センチ、体重149キロです。
The Bulldog lived for some time in the shadow of his stablemate Shionofuji, the great master. Now that Chiyo has retired, Hokutomi's coming into his own. He is the boss now. That'll cut no ice with Kirishima. They both came to the top division 8 years ago. They know each other well. Hoktumi has a success rate of 70%. Kirishima, at the age of 32, is a little more erratic. He's doing well recently. He's put on a little weight, got stronger and bigger. His statistics don't really tell the true picture. He's scoring at 52%, but his recent score has been a lot higher than that. A great devotee of weight training, as you can see from the way he's built. Eats a special high-protein diet. Not very fond of sumo food. Here they go. Hoktumi wins, but only just. Hoktumi wins by a lift out by Tsuridashi. Once they came to the clinch, they could have gone either way. Hoktumi came out with his favorite throat thrust, but Kirishima smothered that and got him down to the belt fight and showed his strength, almost had the big man out. They spun on the edge and it was Kirishima who put a toe out. Otherwise, he might have got the Uchari thrown in the end.
The combination of a strong rikishi with a good belt grip can result in a dramatic lift-out called Tsuridashi.
One of sumo's big techniques, the lift-out. It takes enormous strength and timing to do this right. Kirishima almost had it there. Hoktumi turned the tables on him and lifted him out instead. Often goes that way. So a win for the Yokozuna. This Yokozuna does what a Yokozuna has to do. Join us after the break to see the other grand champion in action.
From October 27th, Malaysia Airlines flies you daily, non-stop, from Heathrow to Malaysia on the Boeing 747-400, offering the most technologically advanced long-haul travel. Malaysia Airlines, enchantment wherever you fly.
At Abbey National, we're in the habit of helping your home buying dreams come true.
Ours! Ours! It's our home.
Abbey National, the habit of a lifetime.
Now! Pringles potato chips! Once you pop, you can't stop. Bags and bags of chips in a tube. You taste them, you love them, you want them. Once you pop, pop, pop. Once you pop, you can't stop, can't stop, can't stop. New Pringles! In 3 flavors. Once you pop, you can't stop.
There's a new Square Deal powder that costs you less. A new wave in cleaning from concentrated Surf Micro. It's a good deal squarer.
Hi, Chit Chat here, one of the liveliest chat lines around. Call now live.
0898 800 500.
Let's talk.
We put a lot into our new Dolmio frozen meals. Freshly made egg pasta, succulent meat,
chunky vegetables, cheddar and parmesan, and dolmio sauce with 2 types of tomatoes and a unique blend of herbs and spices. There's delicious lasagna, irresistible cannelloni, and tempting ravioli. New Dolmio frozen meals. Put the Dolmio smile on your face.
The world's #1 real estate agency system is now working for you. Century 21. Every day we help more people to buy and sell their homes than any other real estate network in the world. In fact, no one moves property quite like we do. Century 21, the world's #1. Be sure and call us first.
Once the Shinto canopy was safely up, work on the doyo could begin. 1,600 plastic bags of good British clay, taken from a quarry near Heathrow, were carried into the hall and built up and stamped down into the rough shape of a square, 18 feet on each side. This 40-ton structure meant that the floor of the hall had to be specially reinforced. By Monday afternoon, the shape was roughly there. All that was needed now was watering down and slapping into shape. By Tuesday, it was dry enough to cut the surface and lay in rice straw bales to form the sumo circle, with the use of time-honored tools like beer bottles. Once it dried overnight, all that remained was to hang the curtains from the canopy, paint the lines on the surface of the clay, and wait for the doors to open on Wednesday night. The mighty oak. Been up there since 1987. Won 4 prizes, been amongst the top ranks. Ex-college champion, a perfect build for sumo. Great speed, great strength. If he lacks anything, he lacks determination. He doesn't have a large-scale technique. Konishiki recently has learned how to use his weight to its best advantage. He's become very square. He fights square on, and when he does that, he's almost unstoppable. "27 years old, 37 stones. He looks well. He's travelled well. I think he's enjoying being in front of an audience who speak his own language. Tochinoaka keeps sliding up and down the ranks. He's somewhat inconsistent, but he seems in the last year to be bouncing back to his old style. 29 now. There is a 13-stone difference in the weight of these two men. That's one of the things that makes sumo fascinating. There are no weight limits here, no weight categories. All that counts in sumo is success. These two have fought each other often. There always seems to be a bit of needle in their fights. Konishiki has a smaller bandage than usual on his knee. That bodes well. Konishiki wins. Tochinawaka did very well to stop him there for as long as he did. But the dump truck rolls on. Tochinawaka tried everything he could. He got his feet up against the ropes, leaned in well. He did exactly the right things. But Konishiki standing four square like that is absolutely invincible. There's nothing anybody could have done there. Just lifts him gently out in the end. Fine win by Yori Kiri.
There is a new wave of bright young talent in sumo. One of the most exciting rikishi to emerge is Takatoriki. From Fujishima-Beya, he represents sumo's new school. In the ring, his spirit simply fizzes and sparks into life.
相撲の流れでなんでも相手がやっぱり前に落ちそうだったらはたけばいいしですね。自分の理にかなった相撲ですかね。相手が足出しやこけそうな時は足出せばいいしですね。相手が投げれる体勢にあれば投げればいいしね。押せる体勢にあれば押せばいいですし、そういう感じだと思います。やっぱりこう相手を倒そうみたいな感じで、その当たる時までやっぱ自分の気持ちを盛り上げていくみたいな感じでですね、瞬間的に力出せるようにですね。で、その1時間ぐらい前ですかね、ちょっと緊張して、それで一気に爆発させるみたいな感じです。いや、嬉しいっていうより反面不安も多いですけどね。やっぱこうたまたま勝ってんじゃないかみたいな感じでですね、実力はまだまだ伴ってないですけど。
Just 24 years old, one of the young lions from Fujishima stable, and a man who has no equal in fighting spirit. He has a heart so big it seems to burst out of his body. He can't wait to get into a battle. He can be impetuous, though. He often leaps into disaster, but he's learning fast. I predict great things for this young man. He's going to go all out against a Yokozuna. Be another feather in his cap if he can do it. He's already won 4 prizes for fighting spirit and technique. He has everything to gain here. Asahi Fuji, everything to lose. Yokozuna on the right is a man of enormous skill, but rather unorthodox. Three-year-old, big-hearted Takariki. Taka has now won 57% of his bouts. That's a high percentage. Thoroughly deserves to be where he is now at Sekiwaki, which is 3rd rank from the top. Saifuji now 31.
長谷藤誠也。出身地は青森です。所属の部屋は大島部屋で、体重は145キロです。
He always looks half asleep, even on the dohyo. But once he gets into action, that just sheds away. He can, if he's on the ball on the day, be the most entertaining fighter. Just won his first title as a Yokozuna in the last year. It's a long time coming. Now 4 titles under his belt. But he is 31, and we wonder how long on he's going to go. There they go. Oh, Takatoriki came out like a wild man, as he always does. But it was skill that counted in the end. Asahi Fuji takes it. Asahi Fuji wins by Yori Taoshi, a force out and down. But watch Taka leap out, watch the kid come out. Like a whirlwind, straight for the throat. No respect for rank at all. He comes straight in at the Yokozuna, tries to punish him, gets a good position, but in the end it's the taller man with the longer leg who gets in there and upsets him slightly, puts him off balance, and then has him on the run. Now watch the skill of the bigger man. Gets a hand down on the belt and just muscles him over. A force out and down.
When an opponent resists a force out and down is often the result. This is called Yori Taoshi.
So from the east.
Well, it's sad to see little Takatoriki go out on the first day of the tournament here in London. I was rather hoping he might go all the way to win it. But he's up against the Yokozuna on the opening day, and in the end it was experience and skill that told. So the first day of the first London tournament turns out to be a triumph, with the Rikishi rising to a crowd that loved every minute of the action. Join us again tomorrow for the highlights of day 2.
And the London Basho continues at midnight tomorrow. Next Wednesday at 11:45, the start of a series of Hindi love films, beginning with the ultimate tragic hero, Devdas, forbidden to marry his childhood sweetheart.
It's very moving, isn't it?
Yes.
The compassionate world of TV news.
Oh, she was better in one of the later takes, actually.
And the purely passionate.
This week's Love Talk shows how it feels to be the target of someone's obsession, trapped and hunted down. Our contributors speak out about what they did to try to deal with it.
It's newcomer Waka Hanada, one of 2 young brothers taking the sumo hierarchy apart, against old hand Tochinu Waka, the mighty oak, who was run over yesterday by the dump truck. A fate which this man, Yokozuna Asahi Fuji, must avoid today. Because it is he today who goes up against Konishiki, the man mountain from Hawaii. And we have a second Hawaiian on the bill, Akebono, going unbeaten today into action against the other grand champion, Yokozuna Hoktumi, now sumo's figurehead, and carrying that responsibility well. Now we have a treat for you. One of our real favorites on the dojo. This man, Tarao, the Typhoon. The terror of the big guys for so many years now. 28. We watched him for 4 years with enormous pleasure. Always great value. Prone to upset the big man. Very fast, very spirited. Today fighting against Ryogoku, a big man. 10 stones heavier than Tarao. About the same age, 29. The man on the right, Ryogoku, is a very different kind of fighter. He's a pusher, a man with glorious driving power. Tarao is the slap-happy guy. Tarao weighs 17 stones. A little over 6 foot tall, same height as Ryogoku, but 130 pounds lighter. Tarao has won 4 prizes for fighting spirit. Ryogoku 2 for technique. When the big man is on metal, when he's well, he has a glorious push. 27 stones of it. Great driver with huge skill too. But he's also injury prone, can be sluggish if he's not feeling well. Terau's shortcomings are his impetuosity. He's often too quick to attack. Goes all out and does himself in from time to time. Wins and loses about half of his bouts equally. Go. Oh! That's very often the way Terau wins. A thrust down, he catches the bigger man off balance. Look at this. Terau rushes out and runs straight into a solid brick wall. Ryogoku doesn't get to the belt. He should have tried there. And when he does go forward, he falls flat on his face. Terau's just too fast on his feet.
If you can unbalance your opponent, a thrust down from above is possible, called Tsuki Otoshi.
It's one of Terau's favorite techniques. Watch him go in and slap, bounce back, come in slapping again. There he goes with his tsupari, that's his trademark. And down goes Ryogoku, just wasn't watching.
Among Fujishima Beya's new crop of sumo stars is Fujishima Oyakata's son, Waka Hanada, one of the most popular rikishi to emerge this year. At 20, he shows a maturity and expertise beyond his age.
ちっちゃいんで全然大きさが違う。そういう点でもすごい不利だったんですけど。
いつ頃から自分は関取相撲取りになったんですか。
親方の断髪式なんですけど、その時親方を見て自分も相撲取りになりたかったんです。でも自分に対しても割り切ってるんで、親方としか思ってないんで、お父さんいないと思ってます。
でもそれだったら寂しくなる。
自分で選んだ道なんで仕方ありません。とにかく自分では経験を積み重ねることだと思ってるんで、あとは体力的にまだ体力がないんで、子供の体なのでこれからもう少し体力つけていきたいと思います。実力の世界で年は若くても早く上に上がれるというところがいい魅力です。
Now an interesting bout. We have a young man here who is one of a pair of brothers who are causing a sensation in sumo. Their father is a stable master at Fujishima, the stable that now has 5 young lions in the top division. And this man, Waka Hanada, and his younger brother, Taka Hanada, are creating a sensation because they're only 19 and 20 years old respectively. Both of them have extraordinary technique. Both of them have huge skill. Both of them are fighting spirit, high, tenacious people. Waka Hanada is a little lighter than his brother, just 18.5 stone. He desperately needs more weight. His brother's managed to put on 40 pounds in the last few months. Waka Hanada is eating just as much and just isn't putting it on. Some people can't, even in sumo. Facing him today, Tochino Waka. 24 stones.
和歌山県出身、栃野若です。身長、1メーター90センチ、体重152キロです。春日野部屋です。
Tochino Waka is now 29 years old. Won 4 prizes. Another of the ex-college champions. Made it big as an amateur. Never quite clicked here in the professional sumo circle. He has the perfect build for it. He has the speed, he has the strength. All he lacks is a little determination, a little of the killing technique. He looks determined enough today. None of the old hands can afford to lose to the new bright young stars. Waka Hanada threatens them all. He's still largely untested, though. He's only been in the top division for less than a year. See, that's why they're talking about this little guy. That's why the Hanada brothers are creating such a sensation in Japan. Waka Hanada may be small, but he has everything. He has the strength, he has the skill, he has the spirit. And Tochinawaka today wasn't easy to beat. Just watch the small man. Leaps about on his feet as though he was a lightweight. Tochinawaka gathers him in a bear hug. Gets him to the edge. Waka Hanada is lifted off his feet and still doesn't go out. Managed to get both his feet back against the ropes, and he resists Tochinawaka's best thrust there. Makes his way back to the center of the ring, gets his hands down on the belt. Look at this. Tochinawaka has a good belt grip as well. They stall for a moment. Tochi wondering what he has to do to get this little man out. Waka Hanada nearly had him up off his... Oh, look at this. Spin round and Tochi puts a foot out. He's out. His right foot is out. That's it. A win by Tsuri Dashi. A powerful lift out. Join us again for the big bouts after the break.
We're doing alright. A little jiving on a Saturday night. And come what may. Doing alright.
Pioneer multiplay car CD system.
I'm gonna make you great again. The people want you back.
Chit-chat here, one of the liveliest chat lines around. Call now live.
0898 800 500.
Let's talk.
An outstanding performance by this young midfielder. Let's see that again. Oh, this dribble's new. He goes one way, then the other. A quick 1-2. Well, the perfect finish. And that, in fact, is his hat-trick.
New insignia Olympian. It's a result.
Brains, who would I call for instant car insurance?
Winton, or Lady Penelope.
Thank you, Brains.
what it seems. It may look angelic, but every Raffaello is a little white lie. A whole almond in a sensual center and crispy shell dusted with coconut. To satisfy the devil in you. Raffaello, Little White Lies from Ferrero.
Play the new Evening Standard money game. Just £3 or dollar signs in a row could win you £10,000 cash. Your card could be a big winner. Check it every day.
Standard, standard!
Long, cool, gold, and bubbly. If you haven't tasted it, you don't know what the salmon I'm talking about.
Japan's largest recent import is 6'8" Akebono from Hawaii. He exploded onto the sumo scene late last year, and his contemporaries are just catching up.
It's getting harder to win. Trying to wrestle with the belt, but just hang in there. Just starting to get used to my style of wrestling and how I wrestle. They try to keep me away from wrestling my style of wrestling.
But at his best, his long arms simply drive like pistons, forcing opponents out of the ring.
The biggest point is that I got more confidence in my sumo. It hasn't changed that much. Just that before I didn't have confidence in it. It played a big part, I guess, because, like I said earlier, I was wrestling, and before I even fought the guy, I thought I really won. That's when you start to lose, when you think you fought all the top people and you take the lower guys lightly. They're the ones that give you the most trouble. It's all in your concentration. It's all time and patience, learn step by step.
Now for the bouts involving the Yokozunas. First of the grand champions up is on the left, the Bulldog, Hoktumi. We've watched Hoktumi come all the way up through the ranks, living for years in the shadow of Chonofuji, now coming into his own. Now the senior Yokozuna on the doyo, now the figurehead of sumo. 29 years old, fraction under 6 feet tall, with the best record in sumo at the moment of 70% wins. Akebono is his opponent today, just 22 years old, the younger of the two Hawaiians in the first division. This one trained by the first foreigner to make the top division, Takamiyama. Akebono has enormous fighting spirit. He has the pushing power to match Hoktumi. He's picking up technique with every bout. He needs a stronger defense. He needs better balance. He has the strength to make them work. A weight difference of 7 stone here. Hoktumi 23 stones.
Hoktumi Nobuyoshi, 北海道出身、九重部屋、身長180センチ、体重149キロです。
Hoktumi is a pusher thruster. Doesn't like to work on the belt too much. Very quick, very strong, very cool. Look for him to use his favorite right hand thrust to the throat. But Akebono will be expecting that, and he's a little tall for Hoktumi to use it to advantage. Akebono weighs 30 stones. Just 22 years old still. Hokutomi before. He could do it again. He will want to do it here in front of this audience. But the Yokozuna is not going to let him do it easily. Hokutomi has sumo's honor at stake here. He is the man. This is it. This is the last call. No, Hokutomi plays it out. They'll go around one more time. If looks could kill. Akebono looks a little hot. He looks a little uneasy. Both these men won yesterday. Superior skill takes the bout. Akebono rushed in, went off balance, Hokutomi put him down, almost casually. Hokutomi waits, puts his arm round the neck and throws him. That's kubinage, a neck throw.
An opportunistic throw called kubinage is done by an arm round the neck, painfully twisting the opponent down.
That isn't something that Hokutomi uses very often, but he did that one extremely well. In May this year, the face of sumo changed. Fuji, the master, the man who had dominated sumo for a decade, retired at the age of 36. We had hoped that he would lead the London tournament as an active Yokozuna, but that was not to be. He is here in Britain, but only as an oyokata, a sumo coach, enjoying the freedom his new life gives him to take time off for a round of golf at Wentworth, Surrey. It seems that there is life after sumo. And for a man who lived for 9 years with the heavy responsibility of being a grand champion, it can be a very welcome release from unremitting tension. This is a wolf at play and at peace with the world. Difficult to stop. Just imagine trying. Fuji has been criticized on 2 counts. One, that he's unorthodox. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. The second, that he's often a little lazy. He doesn't like to work out too hard in training sessions. Likes a good lie-in. But he's clever enough and quick enough on the night to win the necessary number of bouts. He's now won 4 titles. Kunishiki is hovering on the brink of promotion.
長谷藤誠也です。出身地は青森です。所属の部屋は大島部屋で、体重は145キロです。
At 31 years old, Asahi Fuji has come to the top rank quite late in his career. He's looking confident there, though. It's unlikely, perhaps, that he'll go on as long as Fuji did. But while he's there, he's a power to contend with. The dump track really wants to be a Yokozuna. He's getting married early next year. He'd love a wedding present to give to his bride, to be the Yokozuna's great white belt. He's come very close in the last year. He's won a title. He's been in the playoff for 2 or 3 others. never quite made the grade. Was punished in May by Asahi Fuji, who beat him twice on the last day. Quite a lot at stake here. Both men won on the first day. The loser is probably going to go out of contention for the title here. This is it. Kanishia stopped him, standing four square. Oh! Asahi Fuji wins by skill, catches the big man off balance and puts him down by an outer arm throw. Asahi Fuji has a very good belt grip. Konishiki has no belt grip at all. That was his weak point here. He stood four square to Asahi Fuji, waited for him to move and tried to work out a response to the move, but it came so fast when it did come. There, left leg forward, puts him off balance, gets him to the edge, can't put him out, reverses angle, puts him down with a right arm throw. Uwatenagi. Down goes 37 stones.
The classic belt throw is Uwatenagi, where the throwing arm is outside the opponent's defense.
Here we see it again. That was not unorthodox at all. That was just very skillful. Uwatenagi as it should be done. So both Yokozunas have won tonight. Konishiki has lost. Akabon gave away 120 pounds to Wakasagawa, but not much else. He ran rings around the bigger man. Kotonishiki on the left exploded out and massacred Misumi Sato. Mitoizumi on the right punished Akinoshima for starting too soon and coming in too low. Kirishima on the right issued a severe reprimand to Chiki Takatoriki and followed this up by sending him home with a warning. So at the end of day 2, there are just 8 Rikishi who remain unbeaten. The 2 Yokozunas, 3 middle rankers, and 3 rank outsiders. It's been a bad day for the Hawaiians, Akebono and Konishiki. But we'll be back tomorrow with news of day 3 of the London tournament. Join us then.
And the sumo tomorrow night starts at 12:15, and the contest itself goes through to Sunday, when there's live coverage of the final stage at 5 o'clock, here on Channel 4. The big political basho may have been postponed until next year, but that doesn't prevent the return after the party conferences and the new session of Parliament of a week in politics. Vincent Hanna and Andrew Rawnsley back at 5 to midnight next Thursday.
Clive talks, Anderson back. Back, Clive Anderson talks. Anderson talk, Clive's back. Talks back, Clive Anderson. Clive Anderson talks, balderdash. Yes, he does, doesn't he? And he's back in a new series tomorrow night at 10:35.
Don't talk back.
Keep an eye on 4. Classic drama from the queens of cinema. A new season of films for Sunday afternoons, Drama Queens, begins this Sunday at 2 on Channel 4.
And for